Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new video. My name is Roy and today I'll be doing my predictions on the Formula 1 Grand Prix of Mexico that is happening this weekend. Yes, last night around midnight we had FP2 and a little earlier we had free practice number 1, which we can, get a few more information points out of to do our predictions. I'll be going through my top 3 in qualifying, and I'll also try to predict the race top 10, which will be a little bit more difficult, I think. Mexico always an interesting circuit because it's on a very high elevation, of course. Some cars really struggle with it, and we've always seen that the Red Bull has really come to life in Mexico, and I expect that to be the same this year. We already saw that in free practice number 1 and free practice number 2. Of course, in free practice number 1, we saw 9 rookies make their appearance in free practice 1. All the teams have to let their rookies join into the car once a year, or even twice a year per car, I think. Arvid Lindblad did so in Max Verstappen's car, and he was already quite high up on the pace. But free practice 1, you can never really get much out of it. Some people will be on top of the pace and some people will not be necessarily, but it could also have to do with a different sort of mapping, with a different sort of strategy going into the practice session. We don't know. We just don't know. Interestingly though, Leclerc was the one that came out on top ahead of Antonelli. And if we look at free practice number 2, those two guys were pretty high up there again. Leclerc being in second and Antonelli in third. Verstappen got the fastest time in free practice 2. Okay, that is interesting because it didn't have free practice 1, but also Mexico is a kind of track where the teams don't need as much data from the track because it's very simple. It's a very simple track. It's a straight, little chicane, another straight, little chicane, little hairpin, whoop, 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 whoop. Another little bit of a straight, then the stadium section, then another turn, and a big straight again. It's very simple, and a lot of people have a lot of data on it already. And I think free practice 2 gave us a lot more insight, though, into who might get pole, because I think he's already there. Max Verstappen has been looking incredibly quick, and I think he will get pole position without a shadow of doubt, really. The McLaren seem to have been struggling a little bit more, Norris being more on the pace than Piastri. Piastri was down in 12th even. It's interesting. Piastri, these are not his strongest tracks. We saw that last year. We see it replicated this year as well, which is not ideal for his title chances. I expect the qualification, Max Verstappen on pole, Charles Leclerc P2, Lando Norris P3, and that will be an almighty send towards turn 1. That is my prediction for qualification. Kimi Antonelli will do really well, Russell will do really well, I think even Yuki will do really well this weekend. Yes, Piastri, he'll be like 6th, 7th, something like that. Yeah, don't quote me on that, but if it is right, then I'll be definitely referring back to it later. Definitely. Now let's go on to the race predictions. The race predictions will obviously be a lot more difficult. We don't know that much data yet. We don't know where everyone is lining up. We only know the free practice sessions and how quick they were there. But again, there's many discrepancies. People might be running different programs, etc. All we can do is go off of a gut feeling and of what I predicted for qualifying to happen as well, with Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris being P2 and 3. I think maybe into turn 1 there will be a big fight for the lead because there's a big long straight into turn 1, and we've seen often before that maybe the one on pole is not the one leading into turn 1. Although this time around it would be Max Verstappen on pole, and he has been very good in defending his first place in the first corner. I think that maybe Charles Leclerc will pull off something like in Kota and maybe take the lead for a couple laps. But I think it won't take super long until Max Verstappen overtakes him. And maybe at the first pit stops, but I think even before that he'll overtake. I also think Lando Norris will do the same thing pretty early on. And then it will be Max Verstappen steaming home to the victory. Lando Norris in P2, who'll be P3. I think Charles Leclerc might hang on, but I think he'll have an almighty challenge from both of the Mercedes drivers. And Lewis Hamilton maybe as well, and maybe even Yuki Tsunoda. And Piastri is always, of course, part of the plan as well. But I think Piastri will struggle a little bit. I think he will come home in P5. It's just a hunch. I got Verstappen on 1. I got Norris on 2. Leclerc on 3. I will say that Antonelli will make a mistake somewhere in the race, and, it's unfortunate. He is still a rookie, he needs to learn a lot of things, and that will cost him his chances at a good result. I think, therefore, Russell will be P4, I think Piastri P5, like I said. Then Antonelli P6, I'll go for Tsunoda P7, Hamilton P8, and then it is who will be in that amongst the others. I think Sainz has been in great form, so I'll predict Carlos Sainz to become P9. And finally, rounding off the top 10, let's just throw some random person in there. Let me say that Esteban Ocon will be P10. That'll be epic. Yes. I think driver of the day will probably go to Charles Leclerc. He'll pull up a nice fight in the beginning of the race, but then slowly drop down the pack a little bit more. But I think the opening start of the race will be the most exciting, and then it will be a bit processional, like Mexico tends to be sometimes. It's a bit unfortunate because it is quite a fun track. I always really enjoy driving it on at the game, of course. I know I'm in the minority in that, but racing-wise, it's never that many overtakes, and it's never that exciting because it's difficult to follow each other in that stadium section before the long straight where you can make that overtake. Same goes for the squiggly section before going towards the stadium. There are difficult parts where you can really separate a big gap, and then you need to make up the deficit on the straight, and it's going to be really difficult. Yeah, I think the race will be alright. It's going to be not the greatest, and I think last place, I think there will be someone DNFing. Maybe one of the Alpines will just, I don't know, have an issue, something like that. So let's say that Gasly will be the one unfortunate this weekend. I don't think they will crash or anything. I would never want anyone to crash, really. But I think maybe something engine related or some aerodynamics maybe falling off in the start of the race or something like that. Yeah, that's all my predictions really for the Mexican Grand Prix. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, who will get pole position, who will be P2 and who will be P3. And I also want a full breakdown of what you think the top 10 might be like. If all of these predictions come true, I think all of you owe me a big subscribe and a big thumbs up. I think there is not a big chance they will all come through, but let's see at the recap after the weekend is done, because I'll be making one of those as well. Yeah, with all that being said, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty more prediction videos and also analysis videos on a lot of sports, football, Formula 1, motorsports, in MotoGP, Moto2. I've had a video yesterday as well. Make sure to check in on those as well. But that's everything I had for today. So yeah, make sure you subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. But for me, today, goodbye.